A 30-year career in 30 years. 30 years. Boy, oh boy. Yeah, I've got a 30-year career in radio and TV presentation, production and training as well. Hello, I'm Peter Stewart. This is where you have a daily one-stop shop to help you with your voice. Help, advice, anecdotes from my career, either side of the mic. And over the last week or so and the next couple of weeks, we're going to be talking all about projection, volume, energy. And we're midway through talking about human spacing and its part in projection theory. Very briefly, not going to get too techie about this, but if you haven't heard yesterday's episode about that barbecue scenario, perhaps pop back and listen to that, because what the barbecue illustrates is human spacing, the ideas of the anthropologist Edward T. Hall, from which we understand the projection needed to speak conversationally. It's because, as we've seen, there are very specific social rules about various social distances. There's the public zone, generally over 3 meters. That is, when we're walking around town, we'll try to keep at least this distance between us and other people if we can. The closer others get, the more we become aware and ready ourselves for appropriate action. There's the social zone. Between 1.5 to 3 meters, we start to feel a connection with other people. We can talk with them without having to shout. It's a comfortable distance for people who are standing in a group but maybe not talking directly with one another. Then there's the personal zone of about 0.5 meter to 1.5 meters. The conversation gets more direct. This is a good distance for a couple of people who are talking in earnest about something. And finally, the intimate zone, when someone's within arm's reach or closer, so under 1 meter, 0.5 meter say, then we can touch them in intimate ways physically, and we can also touch them in intimate ways vocally as well. We can see more detail of their body language. We can look them in the eyes. And when they're that close, they also blot out other people. So all we can see is them and vice versa. Romance of all kinds happens in this kind of zone. So we've got those 4 zones. There's the public zone, the social zone, the personal zone, and the intimate zone. Hope you'll agree, and you've probably imagined different scenarios and situations where you're in those different zones. And being in those different zones, as I kind of mentioned yesterday, being in those different zones creates a different kind of voice that we're going to be using for people that we communicate with in those different radiuses, in the different radii, in those different zones. And we're going to be exploring that over the next couple of days, and then we'll move on to how you can trick your mind to being in those different zones when you want to use different forms of projection in different kinds of acting situations in a studio when you're by yourself. As Get a Better Broadcast podcast and video voice continues. From London, I'm Peter Stewart.